Hello everyone, it is Tiffany of Clarity, Confidence, Courage, and I'm super excited to bring this week's subject, how to stop living in survival mode after a divorce. Now, the reason I wanted to bring up this subject is because I find that so many women, just like myself, that have gone through a divorce will go through a traumatic situation in their marriage, then their divorce, and then afterwards tend to still act as if they're still in the traumatic situation, whether that was an abusive or dangerous marriage, or even going through all the divorce and all the feelings of anxiety and depression. Even after it's all over, they still behave as if they're going through the same circumstance. So I wanted to really talk about what survival mode is, how you can tell if you're still acting like you're in survival mode even though the marriage is over, and how you can stop behaving as if you're in survival mode and start bringing in more peace, calm, and joy. So definitely click on the link, make sure you like, subscribe, share this video with other women that you know may be going through the same thing, and get ready for some great content. Here we go. Now let's talk about this idea of survival mode after divorce. If any of you have gone through a tumultuous, abusive, or dangerous marriage, a lot of times you start to take on the physicalities of a person who has gone through a very stressful event. Or if you just suffered a lot of psychological, physical, emotional abuse, gaslighting, anything like that, that led you to the divorce to begin with, that is a traumatic experience. Now, it may not be as extreme as PTSD, but it still is trauma to the brain. And when we go through experiences like this and we're trying to get out, a lot of times we'll go into what's called survival mode, meaning you're doing everything you can just to survive. It's kind of like you go into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. You're just trying to figure out what is going to get you through the situation, through the day, through the experience. And, when you go through a divorce, even though you're leaving the situation, you may be going through a lot of transitions at the same time. So if you're getting a divorce and you're having to tell your family and you're going through the agony, the emotional agony, and you're going through, the pain of finding a lawyer and then going to the lawyer and getting all the legal work done and possibly selling your house or moving your kids. I mean, that's a lot of transitions going on at the same time, which can cause a lot of stress. It can cause a lot of anxiety. It might even cause depression. You might be still in love with your partner, so it might be heartbreaking. So many things happening at the same time that can be very stressful and can show symptoms that are similar to a lot of high anxiety situations, a lot of traumatic situations. So you may have some symptoms even after you get divorced of kind of post-traumatic stress disorder. Again, maybe not that extreme like a veteran of war, but things like anxiety, fatigue, feeling nervous energy, or being hyper vigilant. I know when I got divorced, I was hyper vigilant. I always felt like I was on edge. Like I was always watching my back. Was he following me? Which sometimes he was. Was he, coming to my apartment? I was always locking my doors and making sure that I was safe. And so it's all those feelings and emotions that come up, again, depending on your experience of your marriage and your divorce. But a lot of times it can come up during that whole transitional period. And then afterwards, they don't really go away. You tend to still feel those same emotions, being hypervigilant, having a lot of anxiety, being worried or nervous about the future. Okay, I'm no longer with this person. How are my finances going to be? How, am I going to have children, or how are my children going to be, or whatever it is. So you still have all of these emotions coming up. So that's the reason why a lot of times, even though a woman can leave her marriage or a traumatic experience because of the marriage or because of that relationship, she may still be in survival mode. Now, I discussed a few symptoms of what it's like to live in survival mode, but I want to talk a little bit more about some other things that you can recognize or see to know whether or not you're in survival mode. Some signs and some symptoms, of course, are your physical body, feeling like you're always anxious, feeling overwhelmed, feeling out of control, feeling a little depressed, or having a hypervigilant sensitivity to things, like always feeling like you have to be on high alert. You can also feel very fatigued, like always sleepy or feeling like you need more rest. You can also have things like memory loss or not being able to focus. A lot of times when we're living in survival mode, we're also not taking care of ourselves. We're not taking care of our physical health, so we're not exercising, we're not eating right, we're not taking care of our financial health, we're not looking at our finances, we're just living paycheck to paycheck, just being very reactionary. we're not creating a life plan. We're not taking the time to create a plan for our life. Again, we're just being very reactionary and almost impulsive. I mean, there's so many different physical, emotional, mental, and environmental symptoms that you can have when you're living in survival mode. Because a big part of survival mode is that you haven't given yourself the time that you need to heal. So the next question then becomes, once you learn the signs and the symptoms, and once you realize that you may be living in survival mode, how do you get out of it? How do you get out of that rat race? How do you get out of that feeling of constant anxiety or living on the edge, or on the flip side, being totally depressed and fatigued and not having the energy? How do you get out of living in survival mode? Now, the first thing you need to do in order to pull yourself out of survival mode, you need to seek therapy. You guys know I talk about onlinetherapy.com all the time. They're an affiliate partner where you can get therapy online no matter where you are in the world, with any type of counselor or therapist or whatever background they have that you feel fits your needs. They also have a lot of activities, workbooks, yoga, daily tasks that you can do to really pull yourself out of it while you're getting therapy. The great thing about therapy is that you can talk and reflect to someone who has a background in psychology, who really understands how the brain functions and how the human mind works when it comes to traumatic experiences. So you may think like, oh my gosh, I'm the only one going through this, or am I going crazy? And a great therapist or counselor can easily tell you like, no, you're not the only one who has ever gone through something like this. This is quite normal given the circumstances that you went through. And this is how we can start working to slowly pull you out of it. So if you haven't done so already, after you get a divorce, make sure that you seek therapy. The next step to pull yourself out of survival mode is create a life plan. You know, with a lot of my one-on-one coaching clients, that's exactly what we do. We sit down, we think through what is it that they really want. So we create basically a plan of action, a life plan. We get very clear on their goals, on their aspirations, on their dreams, on what they want their life to be. Then we allow them to dream. I really help pull them into the vision to really make them feel okay, because you can't create something if you don't feel like you deserve it. Then we do things like exercises around building confidence, building self-esteem, helping to heal some of those old wounds and baggages that they may be carrying. And then start really mapping out the next step for the tangible ways they can move forward in their life, whether that's moving forward into a new career, or moving forward into a better healthy lifestyle, or getting themselves prepared to receive a new healthy relationship. So creating a life plan does all of that. And that's part of what I offer when I work with my one-on-one coaching clients. If that's something that interests you, definitely jump on a free strategy call with me. I have the link in the description below. It's just a discovery call to talk about where you are, your challenges, where you want to be, and how we can start helping you get that life plan in order to move forward on the next steps. The next thing you can do is implement a self-care routine, and you have to be intentional about it. This means you have to think through it. You have to write it out. You have to put it on your calendar, and you have to do it every single day. Ladies, when I came out of my divorce, I was so frazzled. I was just all over the place, and my energy was all over the place. And I couldn't seem to feel a sense of peace because every part of my life was overwhelming. And I didn't really create a plan in the beginning to find that peace, to be intentional about creating peace in my life. So again, that's something that I work with with my one-on-one coaching clients, is helping them create a strategy within their lives for a self-care routine. And that can be starting your morning off with yoga, or deep breathing, or, creating a meditation plan, or even journaling. But you have to understand how to be intentional about creating a routine that implements self-care activities every single day. I've done so many videos on self-care. Definitely check out, I'll put the link below, about some self-care for busy women and things that busy women can do to add more self-care in your life. The bottom line is, whatever it is you do, self-care is a part of the healing process. And when you allow yourself to give yourself what you need mentally, physically, and emotionally to feel better, that is how you know you're going to be on your way to decreasing your anxiety, decreasing that hypervigilance, and just feeding yourself that good energy again. So definitely implement a self-care routine. Next, work on your financial health. We talk about emotional health, we talk about mental health, but we also got to talk about financial health, especially after a divorce, ladies. After my divorce, my finances, again, were all over the place. I ended up getting a financial advisor that kind of helped me along, but I also started reading books. You know, Dave Ramsey is a good person to follow. Tiffany Alashay, I think I'm saying her name right. Also Grant Sabatier. I'll put his name in the description, but these are all people that I started to follow and just started to read their books and take some of their courses for myself, for my own financial stability, and really learn how to get my finances in order and what my financial goals were. Not just saving money, but investing money, having several streams of income. If you haven't done so already, go online and just go into your search browser, whatever that may be, and search FIRE movement. FIRE stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. There are so many people who are doing this movement. And it's not about some get rich quick overnight scheme to hurry up and get you rich. The idea is to teach you how to be smart about your finances with the money that you have and slowly build a financial plan so that over a course of time, you're putting enough money in your savings, putting enough money in your 401k, putting enough money in an IRA, having some different streams of income. Maybe that's a full-time job and a side hustle. But the idea is taking that money, being smart about that money, and creating different ways of planning, saving, and preparing you so that you can be financially free at some point in your life and not have to work until you're 100 years old. So ladies, the point is make financial literacy and financial health part of your overall life plan and be intentional about getting your finances in order, especially after a divorce. And lastly, develop a physical health routine. When I say physical health, I'm talking about exercise, movement, and nutrition. And ladies, I talk about this all the time. My background, of course, I used to be a fitness instructor and fitness trainer and a fitness competitor. I love fitness just in general because it makes me feel good. But the other reason I love it is because it's a part of our healthy lifestyle. When I say fitness, I'm not talking about being a certain size or a certain weight. I'm talking about the fact that our human bodies need certain things to feel good. It's kind of like having a car and never getting an oil change. After a while, that car is going to break down. Well, our bodies are the same way. If we never take ourselves for a walk, if we never get sunshine, if we never put foods that give us vitamins and nutrition in our systems, or sometimes hold back from overeating, giving ourselves time to fast a little bit, giving our digestive systems a break, all of that matters. So being very understanding and intentional around your physical health for this thing we call a human body is so important when it comes to getting out of survival mode. Because ladies, when you physically feel better, when you're giving your brain and your lungs and your physical body and all your organs and fingernails and eyes and hair and everything what it needs to just grow and thrive, you will feel better. And when you feel better, you make better decisions. You can think clear, you can focus, you can do some of these other things that I'm talking about. So you have to be healthy in your own life. Now, if you need some help with that, then definitely check out my Confident Woman's Healthy Lifestyle Guide, where I talk about nutrition, physical health, fasting, and different things that you can do to, again, boost your physical health. I'll have that link in the description below. It's the Confident Woman's Healthy Lifestyle Guide. Check it out and also get some freebies, because I threw some freebies in there for you too. So ladies, that is my tips on how to pull yourself out of survival mode after divorce and start thriving and really creating a life that you actually enjoy. And stop putting yourself in cycles and a situation where you're only living for the day, or you're reliving the negative events that you experienced in your marriage or what you went through when you went through a divorce. There is so much life to be led after your divorce, so don't let it pass you by. Now, of course, if you need some help with that, definitely click the link to get a free discovery call with me to talk about where you are, where you want to be, and if working together might be the next steps. Because it's hard to move forward in life if you don't have someone that's been there, that has already done it, to help you along. I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day and a wonderful, confident, and powerful, courageous life. Talk to you soon. Bye.